the beginning. If you asked me to pinpoint the moment when it all started, well, that would be a darn hard task. I guess you could say that my mother's passing was a pivotal time. How that poor woman suffered. But hey, I didn't set out to carve myself a life of debauchery. I used to teach Sunday school, for goodness sake. Pillar of the community in my younger days. Let's say it kind of just happened. We're talking about 19th century America, my friend. A fellow had to make ends meet, and sometimes it just meant stepping over the line. Don't get me wrong, I'm no criminal. But to finance yourself in a comfortable manner, sometimes you had to put your morals to one side. Get your hands a little dirty, ruffle a few feathers. I guess you could blame it on the woman, too. Yep, there you go. It was the woman who got me into this mess. I've always had a natural charm with the ladies. Must have been a combination of my inherent good looks and smooth Scottish-American tongue. They just dropped at my feet. Literally in some cases. Let's see. There was that disastrous relationship with Flora. Even ended up marrying that one. Julia came next. The bitch nearly cost me my life. What with her scheming and lies, but we'll talk about that later. Jeez, it still makes me curse at the very mention of her name. The only woman I really loved was Laura. How it pains me to think of her sweet young face. But it never really was the settling kind. I always regarded marriage as a means to an end, wealth being the optimum prize. Anyhow, I'm guessing that you want to know all about those London streetwalkers mostly. But you have to be patient, dear friend, all in good time. I have so much to tell you. Let's talk about that Jack the Ripper rumor. Oh yes, I've read the books. I'm flattered that so many pages have been devoted to my name. There must be 10 score and more who think I did it. Have you joined the ranks, dear listener? Well, I certainly had the surgical talent in those days. Used to pride myself that I could gut a hog in darn near 3 minutes. There's also the little matter that the bitches didn't scream, isn't there? And I did just happen to graduate with an excellent thesis on chloroform. That sure would knock the whores out cold. And then there was that guy from Whitechapel neighborhood. What was his name? George Hutchinson? Says he saw a gentleman with a horseshoe tie pin near the murder scene. Well, you got me there too. Worn one of those since my university days. He nearly got my height. Even got a good look at the well-groomed mustache. Guess I fit his description pretty neatly, didn't I? Now, those English cops were smart, but even they couldn't figure it out. I mean, one ripper and a whole force of bobbies. Maybe they were just looking in the wrong place all along. Or maybe they were searching, but not really seeing. Well, friend, I could go on. There are things that even the best of them overlooked. I mean, have you ever asked yourself why a 50-cent-a-night bitch would be wearing a silk scarf? And they all were, you know. Bit of a coincidence, don't you think? You could understand a cotton neckerchief tied around their filthy necks, but silk? Some parting gift that was. Now then, before you get all excited and go telling folk you know who Jack was, you have to solve a riddle. That being the fact that I was holed up in Joliet State Penitentiary during the entire Ripper episode, with not one iota of an impending parole date. Sure, there were petitions, but the fact remains, I was serving a life sentence in 1888. So how did I get out of that one? Do you reckon I paid some doppelganger to sit in my cell while I dug myself out and hightailed it to London? Maybe I bribed Governor Pfeiffer to let me out early. Sure, he would sleep easy at night with that on his conscience. I mean, I did have money, despite my delicate predicament, what with my father's death and all. But do you reckon I would line the pockets of some paper-shuffling bigwig in order to stalk hookers in the London fog? Well, maybe that's exactly what I did. Or maybe not.